Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Alanna Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing really well in this moment, and that whenever and wherever you are when you listen to this recording, that you have remembered to do something really nice for yourself for the holiday season. This is the time of year we're running around like crazy trying to get just the perfect gift, or put together the perfect meal, the perfect everything for our loved ones. And sometimes we forget that our closest loved one is ourselves. At least it's supposed to be. We're supposed to love ourselves first. Then we can learn to love other people. But I know for a fact that today is the first day that all of the divine masculine and all of the divine feminine energies throughout the whole world have been cleared. All of the heaviness, the distrustful energy, the I'm not worthy energy, all the junk has been cleared away. It's been broken up and swept away by the last big surge of energy coming in from that supernova, as well as the other cosmic radiation, and it's just gone. There's a big wave of energy. Now, I think it was yesterday, and when it hit, that's what it did. It just swept away all of our self-doubting and the victim mentalities and the addiction mentalities and, you know, the divine masculine not trusting the divine feminine and, you know, feeling like trying to, you know, like were they trying to rope us into something, you know, that kind of energy. And the divine feminine feeling, well, he doesn't want to be with me. He's not, doesn't love me enough, and I must not be lovable or worthy. That all of those energies. I mean, because that's a dance I've witnessed not only in my own life, but in all the people I know. I mean, all the men I know, what are you trying to get me in a relationship? What are you trying to get me to marry you? What are you trying to, yeah, I mean, you know, don't you want that? You know, it's kind of, you know, normal and natural for people to want to be together, right? You know, whether they're, you know, heterosexual or homosexual, doesn't matter, bisexual, whatever. You know, I don't mean this in a cisgendered heteronormative way, but all of the men that I know have always been kind of like, I don't know, I think that he wants too much for me or she wants too much for me. You know, it's like a mistrust energy that I've witnessed in a lot of men, whether they're gay, straight, bisexual, whatever. And a lot of women I know just feel so like confused, like unloved and unwanted, because why the hell is he ghosting on me? Like, what the hell is that about, right? That kind of energy. Like, when people are ghosting on you, you just feel so, I mean, is it me? Is it him? Is it me? Is it what's wrong with that? You know? It's that kind of an energy, like, why? Was I not pretty enough? Did I not do my hair right? Did I not speak of the right things? Was my education not adequate? Was my weight not adequate? Maybe I should have had my hair different. It's ridiculous, but those are the energies that were here. And all of them have been swept away. All of these energies, all of the curses that have been placed upon the divine masculine and divine feminine so that they won't trust each other and won't be in a relationship together. All the curses have been lifted. Sarah O'Brien on Why So Serious 24D YouTube channel actually came on today for 6 minutes and said that's what happened since yesterday's massive wave that came in. And we have more waves coming, but that's what that one did. And basically she said that now all the divine masculines and all the divine feminines are going to be free to meet each other now as their divine selves, not as, people with problems, or energies of, I need this and I need that and help me, And with twin flames, a lot of the twin flames that got together early on, they did so kind of at the peril of the relationship in most cases. And that led to the twin flame runner scenario. And that means that a lot of people got together and they thought, well, first, when twin flames meet, they just absolutely can't stand each other, especially if they meet way too early. They just don't like each other. They mirror each other, so they don't like what they see in the mirror because they haven't worked on themselves enough yet. So the first thing when twin flames get together, like from years ago, they would kind of not like each other and they repel each other. And then after a while, what happens is they then re-meet and get attracted, and then they get into a relationship, and then one of them feels like the energy is so much to handle, they just take off running, and you get the twin flame runner. Oops, we got another runner. And then they have to work on themselves, and then they get back together after they've now finally worked on themselves. So that's what has been happening in the twin flame community, all the incarnate twins, when they have met early. Now, those of us who have not yet met our twin, we're lucky. Thank God. I don't know that we could even handle it. I don't know if I can handle it. Meeting my twin and then he runs. It's like, I don't even know if I can handle that right now. So I'm glad that we've gotten past all that. All of the energy of all that has been lifted. We have all been working on ourselves so much that we're finally ready. We are open. We are free. Our mirrors have been cleaned. We are clear. And we are ready to finally meet the other half of our soul, basically. We are whole beings, sovereign and clear, and we're okay on our own. But the twins that are incarnate together, we are meant to meet. And when we do, it's not just going to be love and romance and nothing else. It's going to be helping the world in a really big way. But sometimes it is. For some twin flames, that's all it is. They don't know what they are. They don't know they're twin flames. They're not even spiritually inclined in particular. But a lot of twin flames get together and they have a happy family and they show a wonderful example to the community of what true love can look like. And so, they have kids and they love their kids and they've got, chickens or dogs or I don't know what, but, plants, gardens, whatever. And they live a beautiful life. I mean, for some people, that is what happens. But the bottom line is we are all able to enjoy this sense of clarity and clearness. And when you think about it, it's perfect timing. I mean, this is perfect because it's just in time for Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa. This is just in time for all the majors. A little bit late for Diwali, but hey. And it's just in time to be fresh and clear for the new year. I don't know about you guys, but get yourself something nice. Do something nice for yourself. Either do for yourself or buy a little something, or, go find a wonderful experience you will cherish. I know that when I was going through my divorce, I'm like, I need to do something nice for myself and by myself sometimes. And I would take a blanket. I bought this $10 blanket at an old, like a thrift store. And the blanket was old, but it was like bohemian. And it was this massive bedspread that was velvet. And it was so gorgeous. It was velvet, like maroon and kind of a tan. And then it had other fabric in it. It was kind of like a quilt. And it looked like someone had made it. It didn't look like something that was store-bought. And so it was very well made. And I got it for $10. I could not believe it was $10, but it was massive. I mean, sometimes I'd invite a friend or two and my kids, and we'll all just go hang out in the park and watch a movie. We had like movies in the park in Chico, and we did that. It was so fun. Usually it was my friend Wayne and my kids, and we'd all go out. And it was just super fun. We'd get a pizza, and the blanket was big enough to put a couple boxes of pizza in the center of the blanket, and all of our coats to the side, and we all had enough room to still sit on the blanket. It was that big. It was like a California king-sized velvet blanket. It was the most luxurious thing I had, right? And I would take it out sometimes to the park overlooking the river, and I would bring a book, usually a comedy book, like something that was funny, that was going to entertain me, and I would just lay down on my luxurious blanket, watching the river, watching the birds in the trees, and occasionally petting the random dog that came by to say hello, and looking at the squirrels that came up to stare at me before running off. And I would just read. And every time I had an hour or two to just go do that, that's what I would do. I wouldn't tell anyone where I was going. I'd turn off my cell phone. I'd just lay down on my blanket next to the river and read. And that was my nice thing I did for myself. So you don't have to spend money on yourself if you don't have any. But if you do have money, go buy yourself flowers. Go buy yourself roses, It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, by the way. I know men love flowers too. They just don't want to admit it because they're less than men, right? It's so dumb. Admit it, because women want to buy you flowers. Men want to buy you flowers. I know men want to buy their guys flowers and their gals flowers. It's just, it's natural to want to buy flowers for people, I think. But do something nice for yourself. Remember, when you're picking up gifts for everybody else, pick up something for yourself as well. It's important. It's really important. So anyway, let's see. There was something else I was going to say here. Yeah, I don't know. I got up today and I felt this clarity, and then on this channel, she said that we're all clear now and all the curses have been lifted. And I honestly feel like curses have been lifted. And I had an experience recently that God's telling me don't go into it, but I had a curse from a past life that I got a lot of signs that was all just lifted just right now, like this week. And I questioned the signs. I asked a friend of mine, and she looked into it psychically, because she's like me in the same way that we can look into each other and look into see what's going on. And she's like, oh yeah, it was a curse you had from past life. It was just lifted. And that's why you have the sign in your life. I was like, oh my God. I feel so amazing. I feel so clear. Like, this is really, really cool. And so I sat down I made myself a fresh coffee, ground the beans and everything. And I sat down to watch a movie, and about 20-30 minutes into it, I said, that's it. Paused it. And I got up and I just started cleaning. Not because I have to clean now. It was more like, well, I got this fabulous hot pink mop head. I'm going to take that for a whirl. And I just got into it, and I didn't need to have music on. I didn't have to listen to my YouTube channels that I listen to while I clean like I normally do. I just enjoyed the act of cleaning today. I wasn't thinking of anything in particular, but I can't wait till this place is clean. And I've never had that kind of clarity, hardly ever. It's very rare that I'm able to focus on the task at hand without thinking all these other things, the hamster spinning on its wheels inside my brain. Today was the first day that I was able to just get up, do the thing I needed to do. I mean, I cleaned a lot too. I mean, I mopped my bedroom with this dry mop. It's like a microfiber that picks up dust. So it's like a massive duster. It's like the mop head was $7. It was like $7.99. It was expensive. But I dusted my whole floor. I mopped my bathroom floor. I mopped the kitchen floor. I cleaned off all the counters, the stove, did the dishes. I mean, some major cleaning. I mean, for me, this is usually chores are like that chore that I have to do. I just can't. I just can't get myself to do it usually, you know. And I've been sick for a month, and I'm finally not sick, and I'm healthy, and I'm free, and I am clear, and so are you, by the way. Now, it's probably going to show up for you in a different way than it did for me. I mean, I cleaned and cleaned and cleaned, and then my son said, all right, I'm going to make the steaks, and you make the vegetables, and we had a really good meal, steamed asparagus and cauliflower and steak. That was our meal. And then before the meal, we had a snack of bagels and cream cheese. But I mean, we ate pretty good today, actually. I was really glad. And I had an amazing mango. I love the mangoes here. Mangoes are just... Seriously, it's like I wanted to be a staple food, right? It's so good. I love mangoes so much. But we have fruit. I had grapefruit yesterday. I bought a big bag of ruby red grapefruits, because I've been drinking that soda every day, and I thought, well, maybe I should just eat the straight up grapefruit. So I did that. And I don't know, like for a few days now, I've gotten a little bit better every day. Now I'm like, today was the day where I was like cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And my son's like, oh my God, Mom, thank you so much. We were going to get a maid. Now I'm thinking, no, we don't really need a maid. We don't need a maid. But tomorrow I got to go shopping, go out to the mall again, get some things, and get wrapping paper. And I'm going to get a couple more things of paint, and I'm going to do some art for Christmas for the house. And it's been suddenly out of nowhere for like 2 days, there's been this energy of feeling inspired. Absolutely inspired. I still didn't even finish that movie because I just didn't have time, because I was too busy doing things for myself and my kid. It was awesome. And my oldest kid called my youngest kid today, and they talked and they spoke for hours, and it was like they had such clear and brilliant communication. Like I wasn't trying to listen in, but I was in the other room and I could hear a couple bits and pieces of the conversation, and I'm like, oh my God. I could feel the clarity in my kids. They're seeing things clear now that all this energy's been lifted from us. All the clarity has come upon all of us. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm like thrilled to the teeth about this one. Even my battery, I started to record this a couple hours ago, and it went down to like 20 or 19%, something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be mad about it. It was like unplugged for like 1 minute, not even, and went down from 100 to 19%. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I deleted a couple programs I wasn't using on my phone, and I got the battery saver. I got the Android system cleaner, and I got an antivirus, and I just started running all these scans, doing all this stuff, and now I'm having no problems with my phone. And my laptop, I'm having no problems with my laptop today. And with my little phone, which I never have any problems with, I had a couple problems with the keyboard, and everything's been clear today. Everything's been clear. Even my electronics have been clear today. So I don't know what the hell was going on yesterday, but today is a brand new day. Today is a longer light day for most of the world. You know, so like at least not most of the world, I should say, the upper half of the globe. You guys had more light today than you did yesterday. And you're going to have more light tomorrow because the solstice happened. The shortest day, longest night of the year. And now it's starting to reverse again. And with that brings so much hope and clarity on its own. And then with this all new supernova energy and all the cosmic radiation, that just all the energy that came down just to be whoosh, whooshing away all of our self-doubts and negative self-chatter. Have you noticed your heads are clearer, your mental bodies? I think our mental bodies have been cleaned with the golden energy. Yeah, God's giving me the signal. Yep, that's true. I have been noticing it. Sarah O'Brien noticed it more. She was talking about it, and I saw bits and pieces of it, but I have noticed that there's been a lot of golden energy, and that golden energy is connecting us with our higher selves, connecting us with the universe or God, whatever you want to call that energy, our prime creator. All of that golden energy surrounded us while we were clearing all the curses and lifting all of the negativity of the divine feminine and divine masculine. So prepare to feel clear. It's just like blue skies now, baby. It's good. We're good. All right, so I'm going to go do some information about the world, what's going on around us, probably not happening to us directly, but we're looking at this going, all right. So the earth changes are going to continue. They have to. It's just what's got to happen. Tropical storm Fanphone, otherwise known as Ursula, to hit the Philippines on Christmas Day. So if you are in the Philippines, and I do have listeners over in the Philippines, please take care of yourself. Have enough food, provisions, water, candles, whatever you need. Whatever you need if a tropical storm hits, you know. Maybe wear a helmet. I don't know. I don't know what to do when a hurricane hits. I've been in one hurricane on land in the mountains in California, and that was wild. I mean, there was some massive trees fell down. One went through my friend's roof, came down and crashed through their TV when he was sitting on the couch with his two little boys, and the tree landed, the top of the tree landed within inches of him, and they're lucky to be alive, but their house was wrecked. You know, it's crazy. I don't know what to do though if you're in the Philippines. I don't know if you have 200-foot tall pine trees. I don't know what you guys have there, but you know, just brace yourselves for your Christmas to be kind of crazy, a little windy and chaotic. After drought and severe flooding, Somalia has seen the worst locust outbreak in 25 years. Locusts. But they're having drought and then severe flooding. And now all the locusts. Well, I don't know if they eat locusts in Somalia, but I know that John the Baptist was a wild man and he ate locusts in the desert. I don't know. I don't recommend it. But they are a really good source of protein, and they're a relatively clean bug, even though that's what they do for everyone else, is they come through and then they eat all the food in sight, any and all food that's in sight. So what's left to do but eat the locust, basically. I don't know. I hope that the people in Somalia are going to be okay, actually. So if you guys want to pray for anyone, pray for the Philippines and pray for Somalia. Now, in Jammu and Kashmir in India, landslides have stranded over 15,000 vehicles. And they've also gotten 3 feet of fresh snow. And so the snow landed on the mountain, and I guess it was already kind of wet from rains, and then the snow happened, and all this massive hill just did this massive landslide right onto the road and stranded all these people, blocking Kashmir from the rest of India. And that's up in the mountains there. So I don't know. I hope that, they get that situation taken care of. I'm sure they are. I mean, you just got to get a few bulldozers out there, and that'll be easily fixed. But I'm looking at this picture. It's like so much snow. I can't believe, in India. It's a place I always think of as being extremely hot. And they've had extreme, even in the cities where, in the lowlands, where it's supposed to be very hot and warm, even at night. And it's been too cold for people. It's been like 52 degrees. In the cities, they're normally hot, and now all this extra snow. So things are happening, things are happening all over the world that are, it's shaking things up for sure. And I think that it's waking people up too. So we're just going to hope for the best. A lot of people have chosen to not physically ascend. So brace yourselves for that, the likelihood that a lot of people will be leaving physically, but they'll be okay because we all live forever anyway. It doesn't matter if we're incarnate or not incarnate. Anyway, disclosurenews.it at 9:30 in the morning, they said, after several days of almost absolute calm, yesterday's evening UTC time, we had about 4 hours of significant activity from 15 to 19 UTC. During this period, the amplitude values remained for most of the time above power 30, the maximum power 37 at 1830. And the 1700 evening report today, they said we could say that the total calm lasted only 4 hours from 5 to 9. The variations for the rest of time were not significant, apart from those previously reported. So, all right, 37 it is, I guess. Now I'm looking at the chart. Yeah, it's not much for Italy. Okay, we'll go over to the other chart for heartmath.org. All right, so California started off at 73 hertz frequency, and they went down by 5 a.m. That was at midnight, and at 5 a.m. they went down to 69 hertz frequency. And Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, remains at 0 all the way through. And Lithuania started off at 90 hertz frequency at midnight, and they remained at 90 hertz frequency by 5 a.m. Didn't budge at all. Alberta, Canada started off at 97 hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance scale at midnight, and by 5 a.m. they were down to 93. And Northland, New Zealand, they've been at 0 completely. That's it. Started at 0, ended at 0. They're there with the Hofuf, just straight across. Now, let's see here. Yeah, I guess this is the highest peak recently for Hulului, South Africa. They started off at 284 hertz frequency today at midnight, and they went down by 5 a.m. to 276 hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance scale. So they're the winner today. That's it. So I don't want you guys to worry when I read off the space weather or the just weather watch throughout the world. Don't worry about it, because everything's going to be fine. Everything's okay. So there's been some massive things, like the hurricane. It's going to hit the Philippines soon, and the tornado that hit Surrey. Did I even mention that? I think I did. A tornado hit Surrey. I can't believe there was a tornado. Did I even read that news? I can't remember if I did or not. Did I read it? God said, yeah. Little bit mentally foggy still, but overall I'm doing really well today. Feeling good. I'm feeling more pensive, trying to figure out what I'm doing for Christmas, and my kid and I are figuring it all out, getting it all done. But okay, lesson 194 is where we're at in A Course in Miracles, acim.org. If you want to read it, I'm only going to read part of it, but if you get curious enough, you want to read the rest of it today. You could download an app as well, but this is the Foundation for Inner Peace. They're the ones that first published the book, but they forgot to copyright it, so it's not illegal for me to read it to you. Yay! That's why the stories, by the way, that I read to you, the books and stories I read to you, they're like on the Project Gutenberg, so therefore it is okay to read out loud because there's no copyright. It always runs out after 80 years. And so like some of the stories, like one of the stories yesterday I read from Spain was like 170 something years old. I was like, oh my God, it's so old. It was so great though, and still so relevant. The guy's emotions. I don't know about you guys, but I really loved yesterday's episode, even though it took me like 8 hours to get it out there. And I'm a little bit late today, but that's only because I was cleaning and enjoying my life with my kid, and I lost track of time before I knew it. It was 1 a.m. I'm like, oh no. So then I had to go do my research and get everything ready for tonight. But okay, so lesson 194, the main idea of today is, I place the future in the hands of God. I place the future in the hands of God. So, let me see. I'm not going to read the first paragraph, actually. Maybe I will. Actually, okay, I will. Today's idea takes another step toward quick salvation, and a giant stride it is indeed. So great the distances that it encompasses, it sets you down just short of heaven, with a goal in sight and obstacles behind. Your foot has reached the lawns that welcome you to heaven's gate, the quiet place of peace where you await with certainty the final step of God. How far are we progressing now from earth? How close are we approaching to our goal? How short the journey still to be pursued. Accept today's idea, and you have passed all anxiety, all pits of hell, all blackness of depression, thoughts of sin, and devastation brought about by guilt. Accept today's idea, and you have released the world from all imprisonment. By loosening the heavy chains that locked the door to freedom on it, you are saved. And your salvation thus becomes the gift you give the world, because you have received. So you can read the rest of this one on your own. It has only 9 paragraphs. And again, the main thought of the day: I place the future in the hands of God. Yeah, so mote it be. That's excellent. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come right back after these messages, we are going to learn about one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. God rest his soul. He has passed away. But I'm going to read a couple different pages about his life, and we're going to go over some of his quotes. I'm going to tell you how to get a hold of his website, which is still up and running. His son took over for him. And I'm also going to tell you the story of how he came to be in my life, at least energetically. And I'm talking about Reverend Ike right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. For me to tell you how I first heard of Reverend Ike and was consciously really aware of him, because I never missed an episode of Sanford and Son, and Reverend Ike came up in a couple different episodes. He was mentioned by Red Fox in Sanford and Son, which is an excellent, hilarious show. So go watch that on YouTube if you are ever in need of some prime comedy. It takes 1 or 2 episodes to get into it, but you'll just always want to watch it. It's hilarious. Yeah. I showed it to my kids and they love it. They still do. They still love it. But so I had heard his name a few times, but I didn't really pay too much attention, really. I didn't really, I guess I didn't consciously register it, you could say. And I had been on a few different lists, and in the United States, when you get on lists, they send you mail. Sometimes the mail is super fun and entertaining, and sometimes the mail is just downright annoying. You have to call them up, please don't send me your catalog anymore. Then you have to call them up a week later, please don't send me this catalog anymore. Not only do I not want your orthopedic shoes for geezers, I also don't want, the hearing aid catalog either, okay? So every now and again I get on a really weird list. I was pretty young, I was still in my 30s, and I was getting these random lists. Or maybe I was like, I was still in my 30s when I first heard from him. I think I was about 36, so however long ago that was. And so I get this letter, this really strange and mysterious letter from Reverend Ike Ministries. And I'm like, this is really strange. The font, there's like 2 or 3 different fonts all over the envelope. I had to open it. It was too weird not to. And it had a coin in it, like a quarter or a penny or a dime. I don't even remember. think it might have been a nickel, possibly. And it said to keep the nickel for 48 hours or 72 hours under your pillow and ask for the blessings of the Lord while reading these scriptures. Something like that. It was very weird. I'm like, what is this? And it was typed both sides, like 4 pages or 6 pages, typed. And then signed by Reverend Ike. But I suspect it was like a, mimeographed or faxed, copied, whatever you want to call it. Like it was not really his signature like it was, but it was like a stamp maybe, or, photocopy. It wasn't actually. But I was really annoyed that it was a bunch of Bible quotes, and I didn't really pay attention to it. So I sent the letter back and kept the nickel. Like, well, if it's good luck, I'm going to keep it by my bedside, but, it was just too weird. I said, thank you, I appreciate you sending me the mail, but, I'm not religious. I don't want anything to do with religion, really. I'm not a Christian. I'm not interested. But thank you, anyway. Appreciate the sentiment, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And a week later, I got another letter, and it had, like, a piece of, like, a rectangular shaped cloth, and it was red. And it said, it was like, for my desires. Place it under my pillow at night. And ask God, while saying these phrases, that, whatever I need. If I need love or luck or whatever. And it said that Reverend Ike touched this cloth. And that he blessed it. But when you're done with the cloth, after you've said your prayers and you stayed with that energy that he sent with the cloth, then they want you to mail it back in the envelope provided. And it was all postage paid and everything. So I'm like, this is just getting weird, right? But I did it. I'm not going to leave anything to chance. My God, it's strange, but all right. And about a week later, I get another letter, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is on with this guy? And I think on that picture, it was like it wasn't a cloth this time, but it was a picture of a special medallion. He said, put it under your bed at night. And ask God to protect your family. And read these Bible quotes. All right. And then another one came a week later. It had a green cloth, and I think it had 2 green cloths, and it said, keep one of the cloths with you forever. Keep it in your purse or your wallet, your pocketbook, or your backpack. Keep it with you everywhere you go, maybe your glove compartment box in your car. Stay with the other one for 24 hours and then send it back. Read these Bible quotes. Read this letter thoroughly. Read it 2 or 3 times if you have to. But send us the cloth back, because we're going to send it out to somebody else. And then it said something really mysterious. Okay, it's just like got weirder and weirder, right? Like, what the hell is this? And then it struck me. One of the letters said, Reverend Ike has touched this cloth. His emanations, his power, his energy is on this cloth. And we sent it to you so you could catch his blessings. And when you touch it, you commingle your energies together. You're commingling your energies. And when Reverend Ike prays for you, and his whole church prays for you, and you pray for you, you have all those people praying and backing. And about that time is when my mother reminded me that it says in the Bible, that Jesus said, where two or more are gathered in my name, there I will be also. All right, so it started to get less weird and bizarre and more mysterious and more magical. I'm like, yeah, but what? This guy's a Christian, and then there's all this magical stuff, but then the letters are like, wait a minute, they're talking about the law of attraction in a biblical fashion. Right? So I kept that green cloth with me. I think I still have it somewhere. I kept one of the green cloths with me that he had touched and he had blessed. He had prayed over it. And for about 2 years, maybe 3 years, I had started to follow all the instructions, and I would read his letter, even if it was 4 pages or 6 pages, and it was like, double-sided, like hardly any space left on the page, like just typed right up to the edge. Chock full of powerful information, but using the Bible as the basis for the law of attraction. And I got really interested in Reverend Ike. I'm like, this guy, there's something special about this guy. I started ordering his CDs, which were actually, they were MP3s on like a CD format. And I remember I got a couple. I got one for my girlfriend Vera for Christmas, because she's really into the law of attraction. And I got one for me, and then I copied mine and gave a copy of mine to hers, and I copied hers and gave that to me. So we ended up getting double the information, right? Otherwise, I couldn't afford to buy, both. But I did that, and then I think later I donated some money to him or something. But I was really like, it gave me such a weird feeling. His energy was so, I don't know how to say it other than he was a magnetic personality. And when I received that green cloth, I felt him with me, energetically speaking. And he became so big, energetically. When he died and I heard about it, I cried for weeks. I couldn't believe he was gone. Because there's something so magical about this man. And in one of the CDs, I think it's one called Get Your Butt Out of the Way. B-U-T. Yeah, I could do that, but I should do that, but yeah, I really should go to school, but get your butt out of the way. That's what it's about, getting all the butts out of the way, right? So his story that he told on one of the CDs, one of the ones I had purchased from him, he said that one day he was a little boy, about 8 years old. He was looking into a very, very fancy restaurant, and they had nothing. He grew up with nothing. He's staring at these very wealthy, very elegant people eating this beautiful food, drinking this beautiful champagne, and wearing fabulous clothes and beautiful jewelry. And he was on the outside looking in. And he got really mad. He says, why? What do they have that I don't have? How come they get those things and we don't? That doesn't sound fair to me. And so he vowed to himself, and he's 8 years old, that he was going to turn it around. And as an adult, just a few years later, he was on the inside looking out. He was eating the fine food and drinking the fancy champagne and wearing the fabulous clothes. And he never, ever wanted to look back. And so he talks about his life and how far he came on some of his CDs. I've bought his books. I mean, this guy, he's incredible. He's incredible. I got so into his teachings, which you can find at scienceoflivingonline.com. scienceoflivingonline.com. And his YouTube channel, by the way, let me see, I have that queued up so I can tell you. It's called Rev Ike Legacy. REV.IKE Legacy. And I mean, I'm looking at just the titles, okay, like how to avoid the dirty tricks that control your subconscious mind, going beyond positive thinking. The correct way to pray for your prosperity and happiness. You have to change your mind. Grab hold of the billionaire idea hidden inside yourself. Find your purpose, set a goal. These are like the names of the videos, right? Tune to the place where everything is taken care of. What you must do before you go to sleep to manifest the good that you desire. So at first, when I got his letters, at first I thought, oh my God, it says ministries right on the envelope. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I'm not even Christian. I love Jesus. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Mother Mary. I believe the Holy Family was real. But when I was 18, I stopped being a Christian. I didn't like going to church, and being forced into that as a kid just threw me away from it, like flung me very, very far from the church, Like, okay, you're telling me that I have to do this, and then I have to be part of your congregation. I have to be part of your community, but you all are talking about each other behind each other's backs, and you're backstabbing and gossiping and a bunch of clucking hens. That's what I saw growing up. And I just was like, I don't want to be a part of anyone who thinks it's okay to talk smack about people behind their backs. That's why I stopped being a Christian. Because I had gone to a couple different churches, and it was just like, people don't care about each other. They don't love or respect or honor or treat each other well. And so why do I want to be part of that? They're not even listening to Jesus, who they pretend that they love. They pretend they love him, but if they loved him, they would treat everybody equally, because he said to do that. Right? So I just felt like a lot of people just don't listen. And I didn't want to waste my time getting up early in the morning on a Sunday that I could have enjoyed sleeping off the Saturday hangover too. So I just stopped being Christian when I was very, very young, because it was just too much. It was too much for me. It's like I couldn't handle the lack of honor, respect, in some cases a lack of integrity. The pastor that my parents always had us go to, he was so judgmental. He's still so judgmental. I wrote something on my Facebook Messenger, and ironically, I added him because he had the same name as one of my friends. And I saw and I think he'd put like a picture of himself in high school that kind of looked like one of my friends. I wasn't totally paying attention, so I just added him. And then he wrote me, he's like, I don't think you meant to add me. I think you meant to add my son. I'm all, oh, okay, sorry. But I wasn't going to delete him, because that's rude, right? And then I realized who it was later. I was like, oh my God. But he was super judgmental. I mean, his sermons were judgmental. Like, he's talking smack about everybody. And no wonder the flock, the sheep following the shepherd, are going to talk smack about people when the shepherd's talking smack about people, right? So I was just like, and I felt really, really, really forced into the whole being confirmed as a Lutheran. I told my parents, I don't think I'm a Lutheran. I don't really want to be a Lutheran. I don't really want to go buy the dress or wear the dress or go to the church or have the ceremony or spend any time on this at all. And they forced me to do it. They said, how would it look to the community? It's like, it would look like I don't want to be a part of it, because I don't. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean I don't believe in Jesus, because I do. But hey, I don't want to be a part of that. So I was kind of forced. So I had this negative Christian, I don't want to be any part of it. You know, I don't want to become part of the hen clucking circle. Did you hear what she, oh, did you know what she, you know, look what she's wearing. Oh my God. Ooh, she's gained weight. Oh, look at her shoes. They don't match her dress. Like, I don't want to be a part of that shit. It's like, to me, that's what, like, these people, these elders in the church were supposed to be representing Christianity, and they were doing everything but loving their neighbors as themselves. And maybe they weren't even loving themselves, looking back on it. Quite possible they didn't love themselves, and they felt like they had to tear down others to build themselves up, right? So when Reverend Ike stuff started coming to me, I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, stuff is weird. I don't know. But it got just a few short years later, I used to tell my kids it's time for church every Sunday. Sunday, it's time for church. We have to have an hour of church. They're like, we don't want to go anywhere. I'm like, we don't have to. I'm going to turn on the YouTube video. They're like, oh, Mom. And then I put on Reverend Ike. They go, oh my God, Reverend Ike. Well, sure, we want to hear him. And that was our church for many, 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 many Sundays. Even now, occasionally I'll turn on Reverend Ike on Sunday. And today's Sunday, so I listened to him. I didn't make my son listen to him because my son was resting and sleeping a lot today. I think he's growing because of this massive wave that's been coming through. We've been really affected down here in Ecuador. Anyway, so according to Wikipedia, they say Frederick J. Eikerenkoetter. Oh my God, his last name was spelled Eikerenkoetter. Eikerenkoetter. Frederick J. Eikerenkoetter II. That's Reverend Ike's real name. First, his original name. He was born in Ridgeland, South Carolina, to parents from the Netherlands Antilles, and he was of African and Dutch Indonesian or Indo descent. So he's Netherlands, African, Dutch Indonesian. Okay. I mean, you could tell, like, someone that has this as their mix, genetically, they're going to be something special because he's so rare. He's a very unique person. So, okay, he began his career as a teenage preacher, and he became assistant pastor at the Bible Way Church in Ridgeland, South Carolina. After serving a stint in the Air Force as a chaplain service specialist, a non-commissioned officer assigned to assist commissioned Air Force chaplains, he founded successively the United Church of Jesus Christ for All People in Beaufort, South Carolina. That was what it's called, for all people. United Church of Jesus Christ for All People. That was his first church. And then he started the United Christian Evangelistic Association in Boston, Massachusetts, which is his main corporate entity. And then he started the Christ Community United Church in New York City. So, known popularly as Reverend Ike, it says, this is according to Wikipedia. I'm going to tell you exactly why he became Reverend Ike. It's adorable. His ministry reached its peak in the mid-70s, where his weekly radio sermons were carried by hundreds of stations across the United States, and he was famous for his blessing plan. Radio listeners sent him money, and in return, he blessed them. He said doing this would make radio listeners who did it more prosperous. Of course, he was criticized for that. And a lot of people got mad because he was interested in financial remuneration. But he said, this is a do-it-yourself church. The only savior and the philosophy is God in you. So, some other things he is known to have said often. it is the lack of money that is the root of all evil, which is what the Bible actually says. The best thing you can do for the poor is not to be one of them. He used to say that a lot. So this was decades before The Secret came out and the law of attraction became famous and popular. He was there. He was there. So he would say, forget about the pie in the sky, get yours here and now. But he had reasons for this, and in this Wikipedia article, I'm not going to read all of it because they're kind of very much judgmental of him, right? But I do want to tell you something I read here which I thought was pretty neat. So, let's see. He has and a son, doctor. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, by the way, he wrote a thing called Thinkonomics to think your way to prosperity or abundance in all areas of your life, not just money, but with everything. But in pop culture, this is one cool thing. In December 2005, John Lennon and Yoko Ono's personal assistant, May Pang, told the Radio Times the following. At night, John Lennon loved to channel surf. He'd pick up phrases from all the shows. One time he was watching Reverend Ike, a famous black evangelist, who was saying, "Let me tell you guys, it doesn't matter. It's whatever gets you through the night." Well, John Lennon, he loved it, and he said, "I've got to write it down or I'll forget it." And he always had a pad and a pen by his bed. That was the beginning of the song, "Whatever Gets You Through the Night." So I thought that was cool. So, now, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, which is a lot less judgmental, this just talks more about his basic thing. It says, so Reverend Ike, or Frederick Joseph Eikencoder II, Eikencoder, oh my God, it's like so long, American clergyman, born June 1st, 1935 in Ridgeland, South Carolina, and he died July 28th, 2009 in Los Angeles, California. He built his ministry on the concepts of self-motivated prosperity and material satisfaction. Reverend Ike attended the American Bible College in 1956, got a bachelor's degree in Chicago, and he was a chaplain in the U.S. Air Force. And he founded his own church in South Carolina and practiced faith healing in Boston before he settled finally in New York City. And there he set up the Christ Community United Church in an old movie theater in Harlem. In order to present his name on the narrow theater marquee, he shortened it to Reverend Ike. Rev Ike. Rev period Ike. I-K-E. Then he founded the United Church Science of Living Institute in another old movie theater, which he purchased in 1969 for more than $500,000. Then he decorated it luxuriously. Reverend Ike's non-traditional philosophy, which encouraged his congregation to channel the God in you in the pursuit of happiness, success, and wealth, drew criticism from traditional clergy and civil rights activists. But he built his congregation of 5,000 parishioners. And during his peak popularity in the 1970s, Reverend Ike had an audience of 2.5 million people. Now, this is before the internet, before YouTube. Can you imagine? 2.5 million people in the 70s. His sermons were broadcast on TV and 1,770 radio stations. He sold his motivational books, tapes, magazines, and videos, such as The Master of Money and How to Get Out and Stay Out of the Hell of Poverty, Sickness, and Suffering. With these sales and donations from supporters, he became a multimillionaire, and he spent liberally on his flashy clothing, expensive cars, and his luxury goods. And of course, he ended up being investigated by the Postal Service because he's always sending out envelopes and having the envelopes sent back to him. And he was also investigated by the Internal Revenue Service, obviously, because they're like, who is this guy, obviously. But he handed over his ministry in June 2009 to his son Xavier. And how he died was he had a stroke in 2007, and in 2009, a month after he gave his ministry over to his son Xavier, he ended up dying of complications from the stroke. But he always says peace, love, success. See, I want to say prosperity and money, but that's not exactly. I'm going to look it up because I'm going to give you guys some of the quotes. Just to hear his voice lifts me up. And he said when he was younger, he used to be feeling weird because the way people treat him on the color of his skin. And he would say, in one of his things I bought from him, he said, it got to a point where I was no longer black. I was green. And money made all the difference in the world for me. And then it didn't even matter the color of my skin. But every now and again, it'd throw him back into the days of his youth when he didn't have anything, when someone would treat him poorly based on the color of his skin, and it bothered him. But I mean, when he died, he had like $112 million. He had like 20 residences and a dozen cars, and 2 of them were Rolls Royces. And I think a Rolls Royce cost like $250,000 for one. And he did it not because he was greedy, because he wasn't, but he did it because he wanted to show other people where he came from and where he ended up because of the power of thinking, the power of his mind. 20 houses is a little bit excessive, but, that's his prerogative. If he has the money, why not, right? I mean, I'm sitting here going, I like it here, and I like it there, and maybe I want a house over here, and I want a house over there. I mean, I kind of like that idea. I like the idea of having a house at the beach, a house, in the countryside, and a really fancy place here in town. I mean, I'm thinking that way. Why not? Then I could just, go to the countryside and relax and enjoy life out there. And I could go to the beach and relax and enjoy life over there. And then I could be in town, for all the events, the occurrences, the haps, the things that happen. So Reverend Ike says, peace. I'm going to look this up. Success, prosperity, and money. Or peace, love, happiness, success, prosperity, and money. I think that's what it is. And he just wakes up every morning. That's what he says. And he was always connected to the God inside of him. And he knows that poverty, lack, sickness, and suffering, and death, and all that negative stuff, it's all outside of the realm of God. And it's just like A Course in Miracles. He speaks the truth. And it freaked people out. And he became very controversial. And the more I heard his teaching, the more I felt better about my life. And so I'm going to read to you guys now some of his quotes, because honestly, Reverend Ike, he changed my life in a lot of ways. And he still continues from beyond the grave. I listened to the Reverend Ike Legacy on YouTube, his channel, and God bless Xavier. He took over his father's ministry, and he's trying to build that, keep it built up, right? So if you were raised as a Christian and you were taught that, well, Jesus was born in a manger, and so we should be humble, and Jesus was poor, and blah, blah, blah. He traveled with his very wealthy uncle on his fleet of ships. He could go anywhere in the world. He traveled constantly. He wasn't poor. That's a lie. There wasn't room at the inn, and so they stayed, in with the animals because it was a cold night. But it's not like they didn't have the money. And his Joseph, who raised him as his father, actually was the equivalent of an architect He made the equivalent of an architect's salary back in the day, which is why even as a super old man, Mary wanted, her family was like, you got to marry this guy because he'll take care of you, because he had a lot of money. Jesus didn't grow up as a poor man. He grew up as a rich man. He just didn't really connect himself to the material things. I didn't say he was materialistic, but I didn't say he was poor. He was not a poor man. In fact, you can't have a poor mindset and be able to create miracles all over the world. So that's a fact, Jack. It's just the way it is. So a lot of the stuff that he said, one thing that I love, he got a lot of flack for saying that I am the Son of God. Because in Christian thinking, only Jesus was the Son of God. And according to Reverend Ike, he says, what does that make the rest of us? The illegitimate bastard children of God? That God doesn't want to recognize? Ooh, no, you're not my son. Only the one. That's like a little bit unfair, right? So he pointed out a lot of inconsistencies in traditional Christian thinking. And I love this guy. He said it the way it is. So I'm gonna tell you guys some of the quotes, okay? It's not important what other people believe about you. It's only important what you believe about yourself. The Bible is the greatest book of self-image psychology ever written. And when you start to hear it from his perspective, you could go, oh my God. It's a law of attraction book. But you didn't know it because you didn't read it right. You didn't look at it correctly, right? The best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them. I already told you that one. God is not a distant creature, far off in the sweet by and by. God is within you. God lives in you, through you, and as you. There are no poor people, only people who are not aware of the riches of God within. Everything is a condition of the mind. The idea comes first, and then the manifestation of that idea. You can't be, you can't do, and you can't have anything until you first have the idea of it in your mind. I mean, this is straight up metaphysics, right? This is straight up metaphysics. If it's that difficult for a rich man to get into heaven, think how terrible it must be for a poor man to get in. He doesn't even have a bribe for the gatekeeper. He did joke around a lot. I love this guy. He was just so connected and in tune. Never say money is hard to get. Money will hear you. And that's just what she'll be. I was listening to something earlier by him, and he was saying that money is a woman. And you got to treat her with respect and kindness. If you want to keep her in your life, you got to respect her. Everything in your life is a reflection of the ideas, the thoughts, and beliefs in your mind. Watch what you feed your mind. I am the master of money. I tell money what to do. I call money, and money has to come. Money must obey me. I am not the servant of money. Money is my loving, obedient servant. That's one of his quotes there. He used to say, you can't lose with the stuff I use. I see God multiplying back to me all the money that I use, give, or circulate in any way, in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. He said, I love money and money loves me. Just that's one of his sweet and simple affirmations. See, he saw so many people suffering, especially in the African American community. He just said, you know what? He changed it for himself, and he wants to change it for other people. And he wanted people to stop thinking that they have to be poor and they have to give of themselves as volunteers and nothing else. as servants of the Lord. And, the Lord does provide, but the fact of the matter is you become a burden on the system when you're poor. And when you can't enjoy a lot of money, if you don't have money and you're like poor and you're struggling, you put that poor, struggling energy into the world, right? So he taught people how to get the right mindset, the right frame of mind, the right energy to bring the money to you. And he talks about how if you relax into the God inside of you, all the ideas are gonna flow like the water, just right into you. And you're gonna just be like, oh, I feel so much better. And you bring people to you when you raise your vibration, right? So he wasn't always focused on only money. He focused on that a lot because that's one of the biggest issues. But he focused on love and relationships and true prosperity, which meant the relationships with your family and the loved ones in your life and your neighbors, and how you served your community and helped your community as well. I just know a lot of people that all they do is they do for others, and they're doing on themselves. Because they're just not like, they feel so guilty. And well, Jesus was poor. No, he wasn't poor. Stop using that as an excuse to stay downtrodden. It's not good. It's not good. I mean, all the animals in the field, in the forest, in the ocean get fed automatically by God. Their life is full and abundant and prosperous. Humans are the only ones that we get in our own way, and we just block our own blessings and we stop our own. And that's one of the biggest messages that Reverend Ike had to give the world, right? And he says, stop using the name of God wrong. The name of God is I am. You got to be careful when you say that. A lot of my stuff I get from him. I owe so much to Reverend Ike. I love him very much. But it's the magic of positive thinking and positive self-image and the law of I am. Your attitude is the most important thing about you. Your attitude determines your experience. That's another thing he said. So if you say, right here and right now, I program my life for good. I refuse to be programmed by circumstances and conditions. I reject any negative ideas from the world mind. I program my mind only for good. I accept health, happiness, love, success, and prosperity in my mind and in my life. I just found it. That was a quote I wanted. If you believe the doubts in your mind, you won't achieve the dreams in your heart. Oh, wait, he didn't say that. Someone else said that. How dare they? That's a good one, though. If you want to have really a good experience with money, you have to learn how to love money positively and correctly. And you're not going to get any more in life than what you can visualize yourself with. He also said that. And when you have a good visualization of how you want your life to go, how you want your life to be, it won't be forced, like, oh, I gotta think about that house. I gotta think about that house. Because once you see something that you really want, you can't stop thinking about it. You see like a romantic movie, and you see how the couple is in love with each other and how their interactions are so tender and sweet. And then you start thinking that you want that for yourself, and you think of certain things. Like for me, I think about how a man's going to hold my hand, my true love, how he'll hold my hand, or how he'll touch my cheek with his thumb or with his finger, right? And I think about how he's going to do it. Like, how is he going to touch my hair? And that sweet and tender thing. And I think about those kind of things at night. How is he going to put his arms around me at night? Like, how is he going to hold my hand? And I think about it, it's very innocent and very sweet, but those are the sweet things that will feel the best to me. The moments when I catch him smelling my hair or kissing the back of my neck, right? Those are the things I think about, and I can't stop thinking about when I go to bed. That's what I think about. I know it's coming. I know my twin's going to be with me soon. And I think about it. I think about how I'm going to hold his hand and how I'm going to lift him up and boost him up and be a good partner for him. And how I'm going to carry my own weight in the relationship, and I'm excited about rising up to meet that relationship and making it almost iconic, like something that I aspire to. So I've taken Reverend Ike's teachings and I've created a way in which I can visualize better for myself. And I have drawn things to myself pretty rapidly. Now that we're going into the fifth dimension, it's just going to be like cake. It's going to be a cakewalk, guys. It's going to be so easy after a while. Reverend Ike said, I've heard of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but I've never heard of Someday. Don't say I'll have money someday. I'll do that someday. I'll have that relationship. So just think about it now, as if it's here now. He had here's another thing. Here's a picture I just saw this, Reverend Ike's Miracle Money Book. It looks like $1,000 bill with his face on it in the center. This is one of the weird things I got in the mail. It was something like this. It was like a $100 bill or $1,000 bill. I think one time I got one that said $1 million on it. And it said all this stuff, the quotes from the Bible, and you have to put it inside your pillowcase and let the emanations enter your body so your mind can be like a mind meld with him. And then you send it back, and that will give a second point of contact. And he will lift you up. As you lift yourself up, you'll lift him up. And together you lift each other up. That was some of the things that I remember reading. I'm like, this guy is strange. He is bizarre. And then I started listening to him, and I'm like, he's so smart. He sees so clear. I mean, he was really, really, I don't know, he was a force of nature for sure. And every time he had any kind of sermon or, anything he gave in his church, he would stop and say, okay, everyone raise your hands, or lean back and look up and close your eyes and get in touch with the God inside of you. Feel how much that God wants you to have love in your life and prosperity. Feel how much he wants you to be happy and successful and fulfilled emotionally and materially and in every possible way, basically. And he puts you through these visualizations in the middle of a speech. And a lot of people didn't like that, like they wanted you to feel like you're going to get your riches and your rewards in heaven and just be poor now. But the people that promote that idea, I mean, you don't need money in heaven. It makes no sense, right? So if you're, I think that's a true sin against humanity. The Christian ministers want to keep the people down, and then 10 minutes later, they pass around a bucket asking for money. It's like, oh, really? You want me to give you money after you told me that I don't deserve to have money in life, the one place I need it the most? But I'll have money in heaven where I don't need it at all. What? Another reason why I just don't want to be a Christian after the age of 18. Like, a lot of that stuff just did not make sense to me either. But I think I might have actually sent him money a couple times because he helped me. He helped me. Some of the things that he said and taught led me to some very interesting and wonderful places. I ended up making more money because of his teachings. And I ended up just thinking more, and he helped me to manifest better. So he was a master manifester. And he came to this planet to teach us all how to manifest money and how to manifest love and success and health in our bodies and to manifest the God in us in our everyday world. He used to say, I am God of my own experience. In God, I am God of my own experience. You know, and he would say, don't take the name of the Lord in vain. And how you do that is if you say something negative after the words I am. And I'm even guilty of this. See, look, I just said I am guilty. So cancel that thought, right? He said, an affirmative treatment from Reverend Ike. Here's one. It says, and this is from 2 days ago, that Rev Ike Legacy put out. Right here and right now, I am constructing a positive self-image. I see myself in the theater of my mind, being, doing, and having all the good that I desire. I am healthy. I am happy. I am loving. I am successful. I am prosperous. I am rich. Thank you, Father. Thank you, God in me. I'm telling you guys, if you just listen to this guy, if you start getting into this guy and you go listen to his words and his voice, it's going to change your life. I'm warning you. It's going to change your life for the better. I mean, his stuff is incredible. Your word becomes flesh. That's one of his MP3s. Let's see. I meet no one but me. You are always getting what you are. He says that the people and conditions in my life are such as they are because I am such as I am. Every time someone or something outside of you needs changing, you must go to yourself, make the change within yourself. Then you'll learn how to attract the right kind of people in your life, how to pray effectively, how to command God, how to use the law of I am to create the life that you want, and so much more. It's deep, mystical, and rich with meaning. This lesson is best understood and appreciated by those who are already somewhat familiar with his teachings, not for beginners. So, maybe do this one later. I meet no one but me. But his teachings are so incredible. You get an MP3 for anywhere from $2.95 up to, I think, up to $20, depending on how long it is. And his books are about, $10 to $20. They're not very much. The Science of Living Study Guide, ebook, $8.95, paperback, $14.95. I used to have it as a paperback, but I'll probably have to buy it as an ebook now because that was in my storage that I lost. But it's all good, power of visualization, how to stop negative things, get your butt out of the way. I loved that one. That one I just thought was hilarious. But some of the stuff he said when I heard it was shocking. It shocked me. But after a while, I started seeing it from his point of view, and I'm like, yeah, Yeah, why does the world want to keep us down? I refuse to accept that as my reality from this point forward. I mean, I don't want to ever go back to some of the places I was at before. You want to overcome all the negative in your life. You want to control your life. You want the money to flow, the friendships to flow, the love in your life to flow, the success and prosperity and abundance in all areas of your life to flow. This is one path in which you can do it. It's very, very simple. Just go listen to him, go buy his books and his stuff. And he's gone. He left the planet. He left 10 years ago. But his son, Xavier, has kept his father's legacy going. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to their ministry in the church. It's the only church I do on Sundays is Reverend Ike. You know, I don't go to normal, regular church. I'm not even a Christian. I haven't been Christian for a long, long time. 33 years. But I've been, and I'm a Muslim, you know. And even in Islam, there's a lot of teachings about how to control the power of your mind by focusing on God all the time. So I want you guys to test it out, try it out. Let me know if you like it, if you think this is helpful and amazing, how to cross out the self-destructiveness and the self-hatred and the blocking yourself, blocking your own blessings, because feeling gets the blessing. That's what he tells us, right? And he tells, he teaches in parables, and he's hilarious. He even has one series. It's 8 MP3s, and it's $45, and it's called God's Private Telephone Number. It's how to improve your life right here, right now. And he teaches you how to pray as well. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you, because it is a Sunday, and sometimes my church on Sundays include Reverend Ike. And, you know, otherwise my day, well, I focus on God constantly. I can't even say I have one day. As a Muslim, we're supposed to pray on Fridays with other people if we feel like it. Women don't have to go. Only men have to. But I pray constantly to God. I love God, and I'm always in touch with God. And Reverend Ike boosts me and lifts me in a way that no one else has. It's a different sort of thinking, and I think you might find it really weird at first, but very refreshing. So anyway, that's all I gotta say. It's my recommendation for his Science of Living, revike.com or scienceoflivingonline.com. That's it. That's all I gotta say about that, guys. Please, please, please send me in your predictions for 2020. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think will happen in the world? What do you think will happen in the news? What inventions or technology will be loosened and released to the public? How did you arrive at that? I want to know. Send it to me, and we will have a New Year's prediction show if I get enough. And if not, we'll do something else. But I just want to know, what are your predictions? All right. That's it, guys. I'm done for the day. I love each and every one of you, and I hope that you are remembering to do something nice for yourself. And I hope that you are aware of the clarity that has befallen you lately, and you're using it to your best possible advantage. Thank you for being on this ascension journey with me, and for awakening and accepting your own spirituality. It's very important. Always be in touch with God. Always be in touch. Always feel the God inside of you. Because He's there. He's closer to you than your own jugular vein. He's always with us. All right, that's it, though. That's all I got to say about that for tonight. I love you guys. Thank you for passing my show on to other people that are like-minded and can use the information. And that's it. I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Till next time, guys. Peace. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. MetaphysicalSoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.